All right, everybody, thank you for joining us in our webinar with our lovely Tanya, who's joining us from Envision Denture, Stephanie from Beautiful Smiles, Dental Access, Cecilia is going to be managing us, and me, myself, Eric. John Batchelor will be joining us. He had a little bit of a situation where I would love for him to explain it himself. And we are definitely going to be talking about 3-shape TRIOS swab about this, actually. So Tanya, I will let you go. I'll let you get started with that. So we have 45 minutes for the presentation. I forgot to mention this. At the end of the presentation, if you have any questions, please send them in. We will answer them. Okay. All right. Let's get started.
Thanks, Eric. Hopefully everybody can see my screen okay, and you can hear me clearly. I just wanted to come on today because I am aware that a large percentage of people who own TRIOS don't use the Smile Design application. And specifically for Dentures, I feel like we're very fortunate to have the clinical and technical background to utilize this and share with patients what they can expect when we're treating them for new dentures. So I have about a 15-minute presentation with some slides on my digital journey. And I think it's always beneficial to show you some real cases that we've been working on. I will ask that you keep the questions towards the end, and I'm happy to answer what I can. I definitely won't have all the answers, but we will find somebody that will. So I'm going to get started here. Hopefully everything runs smoothly. This is my first presentation, so please just bear with me if I say too many ums. So a lot of you may not know who I am. My name is Tanya Little, and I am a denturist in British Columbia, Canada. It's the westernmost province of our beautiful nation. I've been a denturist for 17 years. I have an amazing team, 6 people that I work with, luxury of working with them every day. Crazy excited about digital dentures, still learning lots every day, lots of chat groups, always learning new ideas and getting inspiration from everybody. I do love my TRIOS, and I am crazy about the Smile Design. So my job here today is to inspire all of you to see how easy it is and get you doing it in your office. I'm happy to help you if I can. If not, Eric is always available. I do enjoy the denture adventures that I'm able to share with my denture buddies, and you will see some of them in the slideshow today. I'm very excited to be here, nervous, but excited. So this is my team. You'll see here that I've got Gordon Brown is a clinician, a denturist. We've been working together for 10 years. He's got 25 years of experience. This is our amazing treatment coordinator, Norris, my lab technician, the new office manager here, Robin, myself, my business partner now, this is Kristen Mantala. I'm really lucky to have her come aboard with me and partner up and share this crazy digital denture journey. She's 10 years younger, well, more than that, younger than me, so super savvy with computers and really eager, and she's been a big part of this journey for us. And this is Sue, our retired office manager, and this is Alex, our intern. So we're hoping she'll get her license soon and start to see patients. So what I want to do today, this is just a quick rundown of what my expectation is for myself, for you, is we're going to go through some cases. I'm going to show you a brief overview of the Smile Design application. This is denture specific, so I won't get into too much of what is available on there for you. I've sat in so many seminars during the COVID lockdown, and I learned a lot of extras. So there's lots there to be offered for you, but I think for denturists, for what we're doing with denture design, is it's very easy and you don't have to get into great detail. And I think when you start looking at this, it can get a little overwhelming. So I'm really going to dumb this down for you. I'm going to run through a live design and hopefully give you some inspiration here. We will be discussing how it can be used for RPDs and crown planning, as I've got a case like that to show you. Some advertising. I'm going to have a brief discussion about the Bellis face scan application that we've been doing, and more importantly, I want to discuss the clinical and technical marriage that we have as denturists. They're so critical for this. So again, just would like to ask that you have any questions that you keep them for the end, and then I would also like to hear any feedback you might have for myself. So my digital journey started back in 2015. My good friend here, Gordon, we've been working together for 10 years. We were lucky enough to go to Arizona to meet Kent and Gerald here at Avident and spend 3-4 days with them to learn about what were digital dentures. You know, that was 5 years ago. Really, this was wow factor for us. We really fell in love with the ability to scan models and create immediate dentures this way. Obviously, aesthetically, 5 years ago, things weren't ideal, and we really used this scanner for immediates. And that was really our primary purpose. We didn't make any trays or anything like that we have the ability to do now. So it was interesting now that when I created the slideshow, what we had to do 5 years ago, when we took an impression or if we had a model, we had to hot glue the impression of the model to like a tongue depressor and then seat it in the scanner. And it's so interesting to see how it's evolved over the last 5 years. This was on the left here, you'll see this was like a little ad that we had put out, just basically announcing to the community that we were the first people to provide digital dentures. Obviously, you can see the key points here for digital dentures was the permanent digital record, which we still all preach today. Obviously, it's more biohygienic. If it's milled from a puck, the fit, you know, you can't get any better. And of course, the reduced appointments. So we're going to fast forward a year and a half. You'll see that my scanner is underneath a car. We did have an accident, and this was a major setback for us. So we had just spent the last year and a half redefining our office and providing digital dentures. Now, what do? We have to fast forward and research on what are some other options. So during that time, we decided to move our office, and now we are located 4 blocks south of the old place. This is our sort of flat here. This is the reception area. We've got 3 treatment rooms, staff room, and a dedicated digital scan lab back here. So very fortunate to have a really great workflow. Everybody's got dedicated spaces. Very fortunate. Here's my good friend Steph, who's on here today as a panelist. I would have to say that my digital journey started with her, among some other friends, when we were in Chicago of February of 2018. I remember the moment that I was with her and we were sitting in one of the ballrooms at the hotel, and we were able to sit at a computer and actually do a live design or tinker on the software. And for me, it was just like a wow moment. I was just hooked. So of course, the excitement, the enthusiasm, I'm sure you've all partaked in that energy in Chicago, how amazing it is. We ended up buying the lab scanner that we have still today, the E3. And we, of course, needed an entry-level printer to start producing something from our scans. So we tried to carry on with that. Fast forward to December, we spend 4 days in New York learning RPDs, full dentures, implants. It was intense, and actually I wish I highly recommend that. So this is our basic entry printer that we have. And you know, we were starting to get excited because now we're pouring less impressions. You know, we're seeing things evolve digitally. You know, the wet lab's not getting used as much. We're starting to scan our impressions. We're starting to make our trays and nathometers. We're scanning our models. We're sending out our RPDs that way. Lots of failures with this printer. So again, just sort of fast forwarding, we needed to find out a better solution. This is my beautiful golden retriever, Loki. She's our office greeter. You'll see her on some of our posts. So fast forward to July last year, I go spend some time with my other good friend Esther, and of course Erica and Carson. Spend a few days with Esther, and you can see Carson's got the TRIOS there, and you know, this was the selling feature for me. It's interesting when I talk about smile design with colleagues. I really didn't want the TRIOS in the beginning. I just wanted the smile design because I knew for me that was going to help me in my practice and convey to patients the necessity of changing their dentures, or sort of giving them a real version of what do I have in my head. You know, there's lots of times when I'm discussing with a patient, well, your center line's off, well, the teeth are too long, they're too short, your plane of occlusion is off. This gave me the ability to show them on their face, in their mouth, what I'm thinking. So spending time with Esther and these amazing women was the go-to for me to call Eric and say, you know, line us up with a TRIOS, because that was the only way. So of course, here you can see on the bottom left, September of last year, Eric came out, we did our training, and that's my intern. She's our guinea pig. We're scanning each other. And of course, Loki there, she's always a willing participant. This was just taken from my iPhone, and you're able to send it to the computer, and you can do smile design off your phone. You don't even have to have somebody in the office, which is another great point. So you've probably seen that post somewhere. And there's Eric. So spent the whole day, we closed the office. The big key here was to get the whole team excited. We took turns, you know, everybody got educated. And now it was time to put it to use. Having said that, our printer, our entry-level printer that we had, wasn't really giving us the success rate that we wanted. And of course, we had to lean towards the Asiga printer for dependability. And here we are. We've had amazing success with it. I cannot speak highly enough of it. And I don't know if it's just because the printer I had before was just so challenging, that this one is just so amazing, because I know I have colleagues that have the NextDent and other printers, and they're having amazing success with it. So if you don't have a reliable printer, you need to do that. So obviously we've got Mark and Chris here and the team, and we've been working with printing immediates and some ear protectors through the COVID. So just a few fun pictures. This was just a quick sample. I just took this, I put this in last night because I did want to bring up advertising. So we've created like these little brochures that we did a direct mail out just to set us apart from, you know, other people in the community, other denturists. You know, we've invested all of this equipment and technology and training in our office, and this is just a little sample. This is a case you might have seen online that I posted recently too. This was our Christmas case. Really something. We saw her last winter, and she came and presented with, well, exactly with what you can see here. These were mail order teeth, essentially. This was an acrylic partial that she had made once upon a time, and she ended up losing those teeth on the upper left in quad 2, and never had it taken care of properly. The lower teeth failed, and she just kept on MacGyvering whatever she could via mail order teeth. Honestly, she actually did a pretty good job in lining up her occlusion, because when she closes together, she's jiving. So we had a registration of her bite, but you can just see the desperation in her. And this was something that I coordinated with the local dentist to help her out. You can see on this slide on the upper right that she did have some little teeth in there that would have nestled into that makeshift liner. Those had to be extracted, so she was going to be left with a full lower. So the local dentist, I sent him these photos. I called him, and, you know, it was same thing for him. He was like, yes, of course, I'm going to help this woman. You know, she's beautiful. So we did do smile design for her, and she really expressed very specifically what her desires were with the arrangement and the shape and the size and the color. You can see this is sort of we did a makeshift here arrangement on the top, and the bottom left was the virtual mock-up. I tell patients it's a virtual mock-up. Sometimes it can look cartoony, but it really gives them an idea of the shape and size and the arrangement. She's got those 3 locators. Everything's integrated successfully. This is her final on the bottom right. So super, super happy. Lovely woman. Great case for us. Here's a discussion about your TRIOS smile design for partials. Ray came in. You can see on the top left here his anterior crown on that distal. It's just sheared off. I think this bridge here was failing. So the dentist sort of was thinking, let's do some new crown work. And I said, great. I took a pre-scan, and I did send it to him. I didn't post it on here, but you can see here from the image sort of what we were working with. So fast track with some communication here about breast preps, crown shape, size, color. You can see here that there's little annotations here where you can do a shade match, which is going to be your friend. There is, you can see on this center photo where my arrow is that there's a little icon that you can use for annotation. So if you're communicating with your lab or the doctor or some other colleague, you can leave specific notes on each tooth. We don't use this a lot, but some of the doctors that we work with, it's been a game changer because it sets us apart from other offices in the area. Here is a patient that came in full upper, full lower, worn 20-year-old dentures, just short. She's a beautiful woman, you know, bright lipstick. Well, what do you like about these ones? You know, what do you not like about these ones? And what is it that you're wishing for? How do you envision your new smile? That's our tagline in our office. So, of course, I want longer teeth. I want brighter teeth. I want straighter teeth. Patients are very specific. They will tell you what they want. They will tell you what they had. So this is useful information that you can take when you're doing the virtual mock-up. So I said, great, well, let's try that. You know, some patients ask for a diastema. We can incorporate that. So I think it's important here, I made this note on the bottom, that you have to remember the limitations. So classically, what I see is, you know, a patient will come in, and I'll show you a slide of this in a little while. And, you know, they're like, oh, I hate this darkness down the side of my cheek in the buccal corridor. And, you know, it's like, okay, when the person's telling me this, I'm watching them talk. I'm watching how much tooth are they showing. You know, what changes can we make? Then I get in and I have to take a look at classification of the bite. These are factors that you have to know before you're doing your smile design, so you can work within those parameters. Obviously, if the patient's anterior maxilla is super atrophic, you know, you can't have a super long denture with, you know, 10 millimeter long central. It's just, you're not going to have that support. So you have to consider that. And I think we have that luxury. Again, as denturists, we've got the clinical and the technical training to accomplish that. So this, you know what, this was a no-brainer. She's like, great, when can we start? And the success rate that you have, if you can convey your thoughts to a patient and they can see it, it's a no-brainer. They say yes. So this was a fun slide that I just randomly found. It just, you know, we've had patients that come in, and so have you, they have no teeth. So the reason why I put this picture in is because when you're taking your photo for the smile design, you know, you can't have them just like a little smile. You need to say, you know, bite together and give me your full smile. A lot of people are embarrassed to do that, but you know, you want that kind of negative space, and what do you have to work within that? Some patients don't have that bite and or teeth to reference, so you kind of have to get them to just smile and find some negative space so you can drop some teeth into there to give them that sneak peek. And yes, I love my trios. So discussion here, just very briefly, we've been tinkering with the Bellis application. We're not importing our smile designs necessarily that we do off the TRIOS into the dental manager because we've been utilizing the Bellis software. And the Bellis has been really useful for us because it gives us so much information. We've got that patient photo, we've got the eyes, we've got the smile display, center line, obviously all the planes, and we've been just rolling that into the software when we're designing. And for immediates, it's just such a no-brainer. So it takes a little while to get used to it, but I would highly recommend you guys just to start tinkering with this as well. That's a whole nother lecture. So this was a case that we finished recently that utilizes a lot of different digital denture procedures. Sharon came in, you can see here, I wish I could zoom in on this. Oh, here at the top right here, these are her old dentures. So this was a perfect example for me to show you guys that it's just that classic, those teeth on the back posterior are quite short. So you see the patient and you're looking at what do I have to work with? You're thinking about this before you even look. And, you know, sure enough, you're going to think that the two porosities in the back are probably sagging down. There's probably no room. Well, sure enough, you know, there is some truth to that on this case. So you think outside the box. you know, if I do this digitally, I can morph the teeth and bring those necks up and I can correct that. And that's exactly what we did for Sharon. So you can see here, what we did down on the bottom right is we printed her the prototype. These are Veneris teeth, Ivoclar. This is a monoblock printed Trion off our Sega UV. And this was I think it's a shade A2, but the reason why I put this on here is because look at the striations on the facial part of these teeth, you know, and this is just fast forwarding from 5 years ago when we had the Dental Wing software, the Avident scanner. The capability that we have now and improvements on the aesthetics is crazy good. So for her, what we've done is we did this try-in. Obviously, she loved it. She looks amazing. The bite was just bang on. The whole buccal corridor, a great display, nice lip line, curve here. I would probably fix this 1.5 buccal area. I'm sure somebody will message me on that later. So we ended up sending this case out for full mill to my friend Esther. So that's this one. So this is the case that we're going to work on today. Now, the TRIOS is a must for immediates, and I'm sure some of you don't have a TRIOS. Maybe you're thinking about it. It's just an absolute no-brainer. You're going to get your venereal. Clearly, this man has not been to a dentist forever. I like to show this scan just to show really how horrific people's teeth are and what they're dealing with. And they're dealing with this because they're fearful of dentistry. So I do the stone model here. I like to do that when I'm doing my TRIO scan, is to just roll it into a model format, and it gives you a different perspective, because really this is what we'll be seeing in the lab. So Mr. Parsons, here we go. This is his scenario. This is what he's been with forever. We actually just finished his case, full upper, full lower immediates, obviously. So this is the case that we're going to smile design. So you can see, and this is what I did for him. And he was like, wow, you know, this is incredible. I didn't know that my smile could look like this. And it was very predictable. When we're designing this on the TRIOS Smile Design software, it's very predictable. And I'm going to show you how intuitive it is. So for him, we're making him temporary, immediate upper and lowers, going to let him heal 9 to 12 months. And then we're going to make him his final prosthesis down the road. So I just also made this note in here. I basically allocate 5 minutes to do the smile design. And usually what I'm doing is, when I'm doing my treatment plan, is in my head, I'm trying to think about what codes am I going to give to Norris, my treatment coordinator. I'm going to plunk down some codes for her, and I'm going to go give them to her in the front. She's going to print off some options, some treatment plans for the patient. She's going to put them in a folder with a bunch of information about immediates, about digital dentures, what to expect, blah, blah. That 5-7 minutes that she's doing that, I'm doing a smile design. And that's exactly how long it takes. So I'm always good about telling patients that this is going to look a little cartoony. This is a virtual mock-up. This is what I'm thinking. You know, maybe you're showing too much tooth. Maybe you want to correct the center line, or, you know, so I can convey that to them during this time. So the other note here that I have is, when the smile design is done, you can send this to them, and they'll receive this, the My 3 shape, and they'll be able to create their own sort of account, password, and they'll be able to toggle and see, what am I thinking? And they can show their family and friends, and they're going to get excited. Clearly his teeth have been like this forever. Now he's like, okay, this is a big deal. I've been putting it off, but look at what I'm going to be, you know, my smile is going to be great. Okay, so I like to talk. Here I was all nervous, and now I won't be quiet.
You're doing awesome.
So, okay, so I think I just need to stop sharing on here, and then create a new one. Okay, so just bear with me.
So while you're doing that, just wanted to point out, Tanya, that I remember when I trained Tanya back in September, she was always very excited about the smile design. And I didn't know that she had all these plans in the back of her mind, but I am really happy to see what I'm seeing right now. So kudos for you. I mean, the patient application, I learned a lot with Tanya, utilizing that application. You really took it, you know, took the bull by the horns with this one. So awesome.
Well, thank you. I just get so enthusiastic about this. You know, I got into dentistry because my teeth were horrible. And if I had this, I would have had my teeth corrected so much sooner. And so I think that this is just an invaluable tool. And I know I have some colleagues that are on here and they're listening and they're not using it. And it just drives me crazy when we get together and they're just like, oh, no, I haven't. No, I can't be bothered. Well, you need to. You have to. So we're going to start this case. I'm going to just pull in Mr. Parsons' photo. I'm going to walk you through a brief overview of how I would basically do this real time. Okay, well, it's going to take a little longer because I'm going to discuss some of the features on here. So hopefully everything works. I'm just going to you're going to punch in the patient information. We use Dental Office Manager. So in here, I would punch in the patient's number just for reference. Obviously, you can put in the date of birth. This is the email that you would put in if you wanted to send them the My3 shape, the smile design directly to them. And then typically what I would put on the bottom here is a little note about, you know, the smile design used for immediate CUD, immediate CLD. Okay, so then we're just gonna click on new case. It's going to create it. Let me just get this out of the way. I'm gonna send it to myself, of course. And you can see on the top left here, we've got, can you see my screen okay, Eric?
Yeah, I see everything. It's perfect. Yeah.
Obviously, lots of options. You know, I'm not doing abutments, I'm not doing crowns, we're denture specific. So for this application, I would just jump right into smile design and this is it's gonna guide you, okay? Now, look up here, this little red is saying, don't forget. And if you're not to select something, it's gonna remind you down the road. So I don't pay too much attention to this, just click whatever so it goes off. And then you're gonna just carry on. Sometimes you can import a photo from here. I used to do that, but as you get used to things, there's easier ways. And so I'm gonna show you the easier way. So here we go. Again, it's just next, next, next. We're gonna upload a photo. Let's see if I can find him. There he is. And so you can do retracted dentate or photos for the left. You can import other photos on the right. Specifically for my office, I rarely use the retracted photos. Maybe for planning implants or something with a doctor bone reduction, I can use it. But to tell you the truth, it's very simple. So just going to carry through. You can see that the photo is a little skewed here, but don't worry about that. The software is already recognizing, it's trying to plan it out for you. And really the smile design for dentures. So you can see when you hover over the blue dots, it gives you that radius and the cross points. So you're just going to center that out with the pupils. And you're going to click onto the nasal wings. It's just going to try and set up the display for you. This area is really important down here. This is critical to making your smile design look amazing. This button up here allows you to adjust the size of the radius. I never use it. A couple of choices here. You can just drag and pull these little icons. Now, you know, you can get a little bit more specific. If you want, you can just hover down smidge, oops, from the line and it'll come down a little. So what you want to do is this is your display box of where you're going to set the teeth. Okay, so obviously his teeth aren't going to come all the way down to the bottom lip. Also left click and just kind of sculpt it yourself to tidy it up, but you really want to sort of hone in on this area, the lip line, and it's a little finicky, but you'll get used to it. It gives you the idea. Okay, so then you're just going to carry on with next. So the first thing that I like to do here is figure out the incisal length. That's the number one thing I do here. You can see that this cross is going to allow you to shimmy this wherever you see fit. The software is already trying to align the center line here based off the bipupil and the nasal wings here, but I like to establish the length. For me, I'm looking at his teeth, they're too long. That's just my opinion. We'll all have a different opinion and different shape and size and color on this case. This is the fun part right here. So shape. But look at here. Look at the white lines on the teeth. How cool is that? It's got the fabulous smiles, libraries, the teeth arrangements in here. I'm sure everybody knows of that. If not, you should check it out. You can look at all of these options. My dream would be to have right here in this section a Tanyas drop down selection of the anterior 6, because primarily that's what we use in our office. And so there's times when I'm using a very specific denture tooth and I can't put it on the patient's smile, even though I'm going to be creating that in the lab. So that drives me crazy. I've talked to 3Shape about that, but so you can just try and sort of find one that fits the general shape and size. These are maybe a little too rounded. And again, you know, patient preference. At this point, he might say, you know, my teeth actually weren't super round. So this is kind of a go-to one. That the triangle one is a bit of a no-brainer one. It's you can just, I like to then bring in the buccal corridor. This is after you've sort of had a good look at the ridge form, because you don't want way off the ridge when you're setting denture teeth, of course, Dentures 101. So you can see that it's already starting to show me a general idea. I'm just going to bring it up a bit more. So here we've got these arms. You can see if you're pulling them up or down, and this is top and bottom, it's going to stretch the necks of the teeth. So if, for example, you only wanted to do one side, you're going to unclick the symmetric design, okay? And then it's going to let you just do the one side. So it just depends on the shape of the smile. So you can tinker with that. Obviously these teeth are a little long, and I don't worry about what's showing above the lip line because that's going to get canceled out. There's also these little icons up here that you can see. I don't pay much attention to the percentage points when it comes to dentures. I know this is really amazing for crown and bridge work. You can remove the lines, keep them on. It's nice to have them for a reference. You know, it's nice to tuck those anterior teeth within that range. And there's just all these little icons that you can play with. So here we go on the top left. These are some of the tools that you can utilize. You can see when it's on the transform the cross, it's highlighting a tooth blue. So here you can try and do a makeshift, you know, lateral tilt or whatever. It doesn't show up the greatest once we finish the design, but it gives you an idea. You can also reposition this, okay? So my favorite one on here is the regret button. So you'll use that a lot as you start to get used to this. So just going to fast forward. We've gone over this. If there's something you don't like, you just can click on here and it'll just remove the whole smile design. For example, that partial case that I showed you, you can, how useful this would be for partial planning. You can fill in the gaps, and then of course you can undo that. So here it is. It's just giving you a quick rundown of what you've plunked in, and from here you can go in and you can adjust the shading. You know, again, I don't spend too much time on this because for denture specific treatment, you know, you just want to give them an idea of how you're going to improve their smile. So adjusting in here, you know, I've talked to 3Shape about putting in actual values of a Tanyas shade guide, all the values, so you can put in a specific shade and they can see the exact replication. So then we would have the mold and the shade specific to give them a better idea. But I guess that's tricky with the pixels and things like that. So here you just have to kind of roll through it and find something that looks pleasant for the patient. This is a pretty nice feature here. It just kind of creates things a little bit more natural. You can see on here, you can see on my arrow, do you see this little junction here? Okay, that's because you know, kind of rushing through, you can tidy that up, you can go back and crispen up that first line where you're carving out the display area. So that'll give you a better, a cleaner version. And what else we got here? So this is just playing more. This you toggle that one. You can just adjust the colors a bit more. This guy here on the right where it says photo edit, this is going to allow you to come in and clear away what's showing underneath. Now, the 3-shape smile design doesn't allow you to work off of lower teeth. It's just the upper anterior sort of display of the first teeth and a couple bicuspids. This is the photo editing. It's the size. You can see my radius for tidying up now is grown. I typically don't play around too much with that. And then you're just going to drag and just tidy it up underneath. You can see that now I'm clearing away what his old teeth were, where they were. And now we're really starting to create what I have in my head for him. And now he's going to have a really good visual of what I'm thinking. So just crisping up these margins here. You can also sort of work in this area. These 3 copy icons up here, I don't really use them too much, but you can reduce the size of them and you can kind of come in and just, you can clean up the areas in here. I don't really use it too much. So this is where the magic happens. All right, so now Mr. Parsons starting to get squared up here. So right now, that center line is going to drive me crazy. I'm going to shift it to the left, is here, and I'm going to move this because that's going to drive me crazy. And just going to go through next, and it's going to make that correction. And again, we're giving him this wow factor. Okay, he's got a big smile. These are big chompers. Don't like it? Go back and he might say, "Ooh, wow, yeah, that's a little toothy." No, you've been missing teeth for a while. So no problem. Let's go in working within the parameters of what the anatomy will allow us, and we can reduce it. You know, maybe it's too much for him. Let's see how this looks. Okay, this is where the magic happens. So at this point, you can jump in here and you can export the photos to your dental manager or your desktop. You can also click on the mirror. It just sort of shows the patient if they were to kind of look in the mirror, what would that be? I don't really use that too often either. Towards the end, you can see that it's going to produce a bunch of images. It will. This is where you would punch in the patient info to send to their My 3Shape application, and it'll process everything out here. It should give all of the icons of what we've gone through. Am I missing anything, Eric?
Actually, no. What I like from the moment when we started, I remember it required a scan to be able to send. Now it doesn't require it anymore. So they've updated the software with the most recent version to be able to do that. So that's actually really cool.
Okay.
And I know what you're looking for, and it shows the before and after pictures. And I think if you hit send, that's when they're going to appear.
Yeah. So the patient will receive sort of some staggered photos of what we've done. Jade, it'll ask them to create their username and passwords, and it's basically creating their account. They'll be able to toggle through and see what we've created for them.
Yes.
So there you go. I don't know if I missed anything here.
No, I learned a few things. I think the community out there, they're probably going to ask some questions, around it, because I think you've already expressed a lot of how you helped your business, especially for denturists.
Yeah.
Most of the people that we've invited over were obviously denturists. And I could see a few out there, especially the ones that are having the TRIOS. They're probably going to call me. It's like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, I'm happy to help with whatever I can. This is what I get most excited about, and I think the enthusiasm gets carried on to the patient, because when I meet Mr. Parsons, I'm like, this is going to be amazing for you, and I could show them that, and they believe it, and we make it happen. And
one of the things, I could see that, because I've seen, when you've showed it to patients when I was in your office a few times, and and I know you're showing them a smile design, and I get excited when I see them. Thank you guys for your time, and have a beautiful weekend. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. And
I'm
we'll,
happy to help anybody. If you want to private message me, if I can get you on board with this, that would make my day. I'm happy to hear any feedback as well. So thank you so much.